And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Connected for Real podcast. I'm Rebbetzin Bat-Chen Grossman, and today is super awesome because I have a very special guest. So, let me give you some background information. Season 3 is all about women who are working together with their husbands on the same business. And as I was interviewing women who are working together on the same business with their husbands, I felt the need to also bring you into my life and show you a little bit of behind the scenes with my husband and how things are. And it's actually really exciting and also a little bit scary and all the things. Of course, with all the tech uh, issues that we're having, my husband's still trying to log on. So we're waiting for him. But meanwhile, I'm going to tell you a little bit of the background story. So, as I was transitioning up, there he is. Maybe he will actually be able to join us right now. Let's see. Hello, Rabbi Avi Grossman. Welcome to the show.
Hi, who are you?
That's great. Good beginning. Okay, so please tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and all the great stuff.
I'd be happy to, but I did not hear your request. All I heard was, please tell our listeners something, something. Because, as a matter of fact, I can't hear you even right now. I don't know if you're listening to me.
I
You
can hear
froze
you.
about 20 seconds ago. Well, I could sort of hear you, so I don't know what you want from me.
Oh no, tech problems. You would think
Yeah,
that
major tech problem apparently.
we live in the same house,
I'd like to
okay?
actually see the recording of this to
What?
see what would the problem what I'd like to see the recording of this afterwards and see what the StreamYard was actually recording, because from my end, I look fine, thank God, and my audio is fine, the video is fine, but you're basically audio and video are stuck like anything. So it'd be very interesting to see where the problem actually was.
That's terrible. You know what? Let's find out from our listeners, who do you see more clearly and hear more clearly? Because I have a feeling this is a problem with where you are and not where I am. So, guys, everybody sign up for me. Give us some votes. Tell us I'm the winner. Coming in. Comments are coming in.
Do I see? I don't see anything
Okay.
coming in, but apparently because I'm not the webmaster.
Now, Beth says we see you both fine. So let's keep going because apparently it's working. Okay.
Okay, so if it is
So,
working, I want to know what it is you asked me.
yes, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Avi. Uh, I, I'm the I'm the Rebbetzins husband. I like to study. I have children that you probably heard about if my wife has discussed them. I have a wife who probably has introduced herself to you many times. I don't, in what sense am I supposed to introduce myself? You can check out my YouTube channel or my YouTube videos and the things I write. We're going to be having to talk about something special I wrote, uh, put a lot of work into, but you haven't introduced the Haggadah yet. So I guess we're going to have to talk about this, right?
Yep, we are going to
Sorry.
talk about the Haggadah because that is the project that we
Oh, the
both
project.
worked very, very closely on. And
Mhm.
and I want, season 3 is all about couples working together, the strengths, the weaknesses, and how we dealt with all of the challenges. So I want to let the wonderful listeners know how it is that we got to this amazing product, which the rabbi's holding the Hebrew edition. I have the English one in my hand. So this is actually super
No,
exciting
I put
because
it down.
what?
I said I put it down, so I wasn't holding it.
Okay, you showed it before. It was the Hebrew one, and I'm showing the English one. And I think that's pretty cool because 3 years ago, we published the Hebrew one, which is the first one that came out. And now already it just feels like a fuller story, because not only did we have the Hebrew one, and we printed and published and did everything ourselves and got it into bookstores, but we also translated it and have it now in the English edition, which is super cool. I feel like is a real big accomplishment.
Okay, I think you said something about the Haggadah.
You know what I think?
Yes,
I think
it was.
I think that you should maybe come home and use the same internet as me, or even be in the same room with me.
Maybe, yeah, that'll take me quite a few minutes. I'll just say yes. I worked on this because my wife pushed me to do it. I had the idea and I basically had the material for it, but it only became a book because my wife told me, "Yeah, you just have to make it happen already. Put it all together and do it." And it actually came together quite quickly. I didn't realize that I have so much material already waiting to go. And she also did the design. It was actually published in January 2020, which was 2 months, 2 years and 3 months ago. The English edition came out about 11 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. It's already been in second printing, but then again, it's still a limited run printing. Uh, I think that this is the most important book, at least for the coming month. Why? Because uh, we all observe Passover. We all have our Maxwell House or Art Scroll Haggadah sitting around in that closet, and we're all thinking, "Wow, Passover's coming! I can't wait to take out my Haggadah and use it this year, just like I've done every year." Normally, in Judaism, we like to keep tradition. That which we did last year, we're going to do this year, and that's what we were supposed to do this year, and that's what we're going to teach our kids. And it's so much fun that we do exactly as we always did, except for the things we change. But we try to stick to the tried and true text, do everything as a great grandfather did. Except this year, things are meant to change, and that's why we need this. Because if God willing, you get the chance to sit at a table with Korban Pesach there. See, it says Pesach. Pesach is a type of sacrifice. You have to know what to do. And your
I'll
old
say
Haggadah, your art
says
school or Maxwell House is not going to tell you to do the right thing. If I'm speaking
it says
over you, I'm very sorry because you froze like about 2 minutes ago. So
you're doing great. I was saying that it says on our Haggadah this year in Jerusalem as opposed to next year in Jerusalem, because if you say next year in Jerusalem every year and you don't actually mean it, then there's a problem. We're praying for things to change. We are praying for a better reality, and we need to do something about it. So this is our step that we've taken to move forward, and it's been very exciting to actually see the rabbinical world. You know, we have the chief rabbi of Israel gave this a letter, and there he goes. And many other rabbis have, given it their blessing. It's super exciting because we always walk around thinking there's nothing we can do, right? There he is. We walk around thinking there's nothing I can do. I just have to continue living this default life while I have to pray for things to change. But in reality, God wants us to try. He wants us to put our hand out, even if it's too far, even if it's something that we think is unreachable. And as we do that, we can actually at least see movement, see some sort of success. So in the beginning, this whole thing started because I asked the rabbi, what would you do if you had $17 million? And I think that if you go back maybe 3 years ago to my YouTube channel, you will see the $17 million question, and how this all started. And the rabbi said, I would write the Haggadah, but I don't have a sponsor. And I said, you're waiting for someone to give you money so that you can write the Haggadah? Just do it. And he says, well, I don't have a sponsor. So I said, I'll sponsor it. And that's how the whole thing started. I was telling my husband the whole time how he needs to do all these things, right? Have a YouTube channel, start a podcast, give classes, because he's so creative and so amazing. And at the end, the real transformation was when I started doing those things and I stopped pushing him and telling him what to do. he was finally free to do the things that he wanted to do. And very, very quickly, like he said before, things moved extremely, surprisingly fast. And he was done writing it. Then he said, okay, what now? And I designed it. And then we went to print. And in order to pay for the printing, we pre-sold the Haggadahs and were able to cover almost all of the printing with all of the sponsors that helped out. And they basically just bought the book ahead of time. That's all they did. But it was the best thing that they could have done, because that created a new reality where this was actually, doable. And with that manuscript, before we went to printing, we went to all the rabbis, and, actually I didn't do so much of that. My husband did it. Thank God I didn't have to run around. But my husband really went and got it in the hands of some big rabbis and got some feedback, got some great advice about what to change, what to put, what's here, here, there. It started the conversation, which was a really blessed conversation. It's almost like a breath of fresh air for people who are in this world for so long and have been praying so long and have been hoping for something to change, to see someone who's actually excited about it and actually discussing what will be and how will it change. Now, if you look in the Haggadah itself, there's purple text. The purple text is designed to show you that this is something that you've never said before. It's something new. And when you're reading through this as preparation for Pesach or during Pesach, when you're just, really interested in what's going to actually be, you will see that there's a lot of change. Now, in the back, we included a list of the Haggadah that you're used to now, and a list of the Haggadah of, the Seder that will be, or, please God that we should merit to be there this year. So one of the biggest things is that right now, for the last 2,000 years, we've been using matzah as a placeholder for the Paschal lamb or the offering or Korban Pesach. Okay, so we're supposed to have a piece of meat at the end of the meal. And instead, because we don't have that, we eat bread instead. Well, not bread, matzah, but, instant bread. Now, that makes it that we have to have yachatz, which is, cutting of the matzah towards the beginning of the meal and hiding one of the halves to become afikomen. Now, that's not going to be there anymore. We're not going to have that. So that changes, but that's not the only thing that changes. There's a bunch of different things that move around and get sort of reshuffled or completely gone or are completely added that we've never done before, because there's suddenly an offering at the table. Now, you cannot eat the offering outside of Jerusalem. Yes, you can ask a question. 1 second. You cannot eat the offering outside of Jerusalem. You have to sign up ahead of time and be part of a group. So at the time of the slaughter of the offering, the priest has to have the group in mind and has to know who is going to be sitting around the table together. And you can't invite new people. So what we're used to in this, in all the years that we've done until this point, is inviting people off the street, even announcing it as part of the Seder. And here you're not going to be able to do that. You actually have to sign up ahead of time. You also have to be ritually pure. I'm so good at my English words here. Woo! You have to be ritually pure by going to Mikvah beforehand and being prepared in order to eat this piece of meat. Now, people who are not able to be ritually pure will actually still be doing the Pesach Seder like we used to do. Those are the only people who are going to be, sort of allowed to do what we have been doing. Everyone else is going to be in Jerusalem. Say amen, everybody together. Let's go. This year in Jerusalem, and we'll be using this text all the other Haggadahs that are being printed and published and are in all the bookstores are all talking about something that is hopefully going to not be used anymore, right? We're hoping that theirs will be the old-fashioned, outdated, and that this will be the one that everybody is using. So you're going to need one of these. Now, we have a question. It's pretty long, so hang in there. Hi guys, blessing to you both. Can I ask you guys a question? As born into the Christian Catholic faith, I've looked inward at my own faith and the wrongs in it. I've also looked into all faiths and they wrong in them too. I hear that. Now we all know there's a God. Yes. Okay, I'm happy we all know there's a God. And sometimes more divine. Do you guys reckon someone could ever write a book on all religions and their wrongs while highlighting their rights and goodness? I too have Jewish ancestors and understand all faiths on another. It's cut off. It's cut off. I can't see the end. Anthony, thank you for your question. My husband probably just walked in because I heard the door behind me. So hopefully he'll come into the conversation and I'll ask him what he thinks about it. But I think that something that you said is really beautiful. We all agree there is a God. And really now that we are in the times of the redemption, the most important thing is to remember that, basic.
Who are you talking to?
I'm still live and we're still having a conversation. Anthony asked a question and I was answering it.
Okay, can I join?
Yeah.
I can't join you.
Okay. The rabbi is here. He will join us in a minute after he moves the little girl that's sleeping in my bed right next to me.
TMI.
Yes. What was I saying? That right now in the time of redemption, we have to realize that the common denominator is God. And everyone agrees that we are here to bring God's light into the world. And it doesn't really matter so much where you find yourself in all of this big puzzle. But if everyone is doing their part and God is guiding you to your part by giving you your will, and your will is going to pull you, if you really listen and quiet the noise, you're going to hear very clearly what it is that you need to do in order to bring God's light into your world. And together we sort of, make it into the whole world. So that is my short answer to your long question that got cut off because StreamYard isn't letting me read the end, but I will hopefully go back afterwards to Facebook and make sure to answer the question properly. Let me know if that was a good answer. Beth, I'm wondering if you're still here and if everything has been clear and if you have any questions. And here you go. Yay, now we're in the same room. We have to make like a line. Maybe we should do
make a line?
Yeah, like as if we're in different rooms.
Why?
It's just so it's fun.
What is this, a honeymooners episode? Okay.
Okay, so what's my strength? What's your strength? And when working together on this book, and how did we deal with the challenges?
My strength and your strength?
Yeah.
In working the book? Well, I knew my stuff. And my strength is I knew my stuff and you.
I was your strength?
Yeah.
That's very nice.
That was very good. Your strength is, well, you're good at designing it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I think it came out really nice.
You didn't contribute any of the words to the Haggadah, I think. Did you?
I did. I wrote the back.
Oh, you wrote the back? Okay. You mean the back
and
cover?
The end. Yeah, I did the back cover. I did. And I think I read through most of it. Oh, I also wrote all the thank yous and stuff. Yeah, I did a lot.
The thank yous?
I did like the all these like, whatever.
What?
The intro pages. These.
Oh, okay.
I did something.
Oh, I did that. Okay. Fine, I guess you did it.
Yeah, but no, for sure your strength is the content and running around to the rabbis to get their approval.
No, I'll explain it to everybody. I basically took off from like working, I guess, for a livelihood in order to put this book together. My wife was the sponsor of this thing, and like that's what I mean by my strength. It's my wife asked me the $17 million question. Did you describe that yet? Did I miss that part?
Yeah, I told them that.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah, so that was the $17 million question. As though I was given a blank check to do this. That blank check was signed by my wife. So that's how this was able to actually happen. So yeah, that's a good thing.
Actually, it was signed.
Instead of looking at the camera.
It was signed by God.
Signed by God.
I was just, yeah.
No, God doesn't sign anything. Even when God signs his name on the Torah, for example, he has Moses write it for him, and that's his authorized thing. So too, God has his emissaries in this world. Yeah, we say like, we thank him for the bread. The farmer is the one who made the wheat, and then there's some other guy running that reaper machine, and the few guys who grind it into flour, etc. The whole process of making just a loaf of bread. But God has many emissaries in this world, so that's what we think about it. Who do you praise right before you eat that bread? God. Yeah, so too, he has his those who work with, but his main, his main agent in this process was my wife. See,
that's exciting.
That's a couples project, I guess.
Yes. Okay, so what's I'll tell you about my weakness because I'm a workaholic, and the second I started working on this thing, I went overtime, and his strength is making sure that I eat and I stop working.
What you define as workaholism has a sort of a negative connotation. I don't like that word, but let's work with it. Some people are workaholics. It's a blessing and a curse. Yes, they work very hard. They stick to it, but sometimes it's hard to get them off of it. Sometimes they have to when it comes time to stop. I guess my strength is that I am not a workaholic. I'm always looking to get distracted.
Yes.
I'm always looking for something else. And it's true. I'm much more, but also more focused on, let's say, I don't know, just home economics and the children. I am too, I guess, hyper aware, almost like a helicopter parent. I don't know.
No way.
No, not like helicopter, but always trying to be aware of. Oh no, we have to stop working now because
because the kids are coming.
The kids are coming, and laundry, all these house things that we put ourselves into. If we had just like, let's say, stayed at one child, perhaps we'd have a lot more time on our hands. Well, this one is away now, so that but we keep we have younger children, so that's how it is.
Yeah. It's really, really good that we're so different. Does it make it easier? No.
Why do you keep moving that?
Because I just feel like it's not centered. Sorry, guys.
It's not centered. Well, yeah, just shake it here. It's not
centered. No, stop. Yeah, you had your back to the wall. I was like, why am I working so hard? I could also have my back to the wall.
I don't know that.
So I'm really focused, and I like getting things done. Mm-hmm. And the rabbi is very creative and prolific at writing and getting things like this done.
Okay, thanks.
And I think that works. Beth is laughing. I'm happy we make you laugh. Okay, so what were the challenges of this book?
What were the challenges of this book?
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I guess was remotely challenging. I don't think this was a challenge, by the way. It was just we stuck to it and we did it. There was two extraneous challenges, I think. The first was funding.
Yes.
For the book. So eventually, when it came time to print, we had to put up the money ourselves. Which, by the way, buy the book, you're basically covering our costs.
Yeah.
We didn't find a publisher who had who shared my vision and my faith and my trust in God. Faith in God means you believe He exists. That's very basic. A lot of people claim to have faith in God. Not many people have trust in God. Chazon Ish wrote a whole book about trusting. There's a whole chapter. There's a whole, a section of the Chavos Avos about trusting in God. How do you trust God? So people don't have the same trust. I realized that all the publishers I approached, there's still one publisher who's still thinking about it, but most of them rejected it. Why? They're betting against Korban Pesach. Haggadahs have been selling for centuries.
Years.
Everybody who's anybody. I remember Rabbi Khan in Kew Gardens told me this. Anybody who's anybody has put out his own Haggadah. And they're all using the same basic text, except for those, I guess, the New Age ones, but whatever. We don't discuss those. Everybody's basically using the same Haggadah Shel Pesach, the same art scroll, the same Maxwell House one forever. They put different commentaries, different illustrations, different design. This is something new entirely that can only be used, God willing, when we have the Korban Pesach on the table, as I described. So they're basically, this would only become useful in their eyes if Chas v'Shalom, the Messiah shows up. That's the way they're thinking. So they're betting against it. Last year there was no Korban Pesach. This year there's not going to be a Korban Pesach. I see most of the preparations for this coming Passover with regards to Haggadot, especially the hotels. You look at them. Everybody is basically assuming, and as in Hebrew they say, the assumption is they're boneh, they're building on this. They're betting against the re-establishment of the temple and its service, which I understand. People who trust in God, back to trust. People who trust in God should have this thing. This is the Haggadah of people who trust. Basically, if you're Jewish, if you actually put your money where your mouth is and you believe in that which you claim to believe, then you have this Haggadah because you need it this year. And if your Judaism and relationship with God is just lip service, I guess a lot of couples it's like that also, just lip service. So then you don't buy this because you have your Maxwell House Haggadah, your art scroll, and you're going to go to that cool new place for Passover. We're going to go to Dubai. You're going to head to Dubai with MBD and the rest of them. We're going to take a cruise. You go to Greece and Egypt. That's great. People go to Greece for Hanukkah. Go to Egypt for Passover.
That's really going.
It's really they're going to be even at the fanciest hotel in Jerusalem, the King David Hotel, which is right across the old city. The King David Hotel is not 100 meters, if I could use meters. That's about 300 feet, 350 feet or so. The King David Hotel is just southwest of the area where you could eat your Korban Pesach.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah, it's just like, why you got to do that? If you trust in God, you will have this Haggadah because you need it, and that's what we do.
I think of this Haggadah as like those people who buy the stroller before they get pregnant, and like to show that they're ready to, almost take a step towards the goal.
They believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you asked me what the challenge was. So the challenge was finding like-minded people, and because I found no outside publisher, we became the publisher. So this is, thank God, the third thing we've published independently, and there's a fourth one on the way. If the designer would finish doing it, we'd have the fourth book, and the fifth book are on the way. So we became publishers. That was the challenge. The second one was finding rabbinic endorsements. Sometimes a rabbi doesn't have to say endorse it, but at least if they sign their name to it saying, I like this Haggadah, it's quite nice, and they allow me to print their name and their stationery, their signature in the book. So that was good, and to them I have profound gratitude. The rabbis the first Rav to get on board to actually also review the Haggadah and make changes to it, suggestions. He looked over it very thoroughly. Is our master, our teacher, Rabbi Moshe Tzuriel of Bnei Brak, who seems to be very excited about this, and we have nothing but gratitude. And also we pray for his good health. Check out his Facebook page. He is quite active still. He's put out quite a few books, and it was thanks to him. He was the first major rabbinic figure to review the Sefer and basically approve of it. So we thank him. And after that was the local Rav, Rabbi Uriel Sfez, who he hasn't seen the English one. I don't think he deals mostly in French and Hebrew.
Right.
But he was very kind to also review it.
He was very excited.
He sent me to Rabbi Dov Lior, senior Rav around here, and eventually the chief rabbi himself. I was there, and
that was exciting.
That was exciting.
Can I just tell you, we talked about challenges. Let's talk about celebrations. When that letter came in, woo, that was exciting.
I try not to take any political stance in this book, even though I have my own politics. This isn't, for example, taking a stance with the major issues which we talk about. For example, the Jewish ascension to the Temple Mount today. Try to stay neutral with that. This is a Haggadah. It is merely a suggestion of how we are supposed to be keeping the Seder. I welcome other scholars, and I've actually seen some have a suggestion. I've even argued with them about how this is supposed to be. Of course, Rav Avi has seen the book now. I'm not exactly a follower of Rav Avi, but I did read his Tshuvot, and around here he commands a lot of respect. And just to show, even people across the aisle, so to speak, we have there, and I'm glad that it's been there.
Yeah.
And there's even a few Rabbanim who have requested their own personal copies. So the biggest challenges were the funding and finding basically the collaborators, if you could call it that. and now getting it out. The challenge now is to get the word out. Why do I need to get the word? I need to sell these Haggadot because they're clogging up the house. But also, no, Am Yisrael, the Jewish people need these Haggadot. The righteous Gentiles need these Haggadot. By righteous Gentiles, I don't mean people who are saving people from the Holocaust. They're holy ones. I mean just non-Jews who are also excited about this, who want to understand what's going on. They need to get this. They need to get their hands on this also. Remember, Judaism isn't just for Jews, and trying to get the message. We're trying to get this out there. That's the biggest challenge we have, and that's why I thank my wife, because I think she has a bigger internet audience than I do. Do you?
I thought. So here's the thing: his blog gets more reads, and my people, I think, are more visual audio.
Okay.
So
now that
Machon
Shiloh, go check them out on YouTube. They hosted a few of my videos. I saw it got a few hundred views.
See, there you go.
But then again, the one video I put on YouTube by myself years ago got 1,000-something views, which is pretty impressive, I think.
I won't tell you, but my video has 50,000 views.
The crayon video?
Yes.
Oh. It's about melting crayons, okay.
It's about melting crayons, yes. And it's so fun. You should go and look at that one.
Ironically, it's so ironic. The things we really put our effort into, a book, put your heart and soul and your life savings into a book, not life savings. You put your heart and soul into this book, and okay, so you get a YouTube video about it, a few hundred views. Melt a few crayons, in your backyard, you get 50,000 views. The world is a crazy place. This is Olam HaSheker, Olam HaFukri. Yes, everything is upside down.
Yes, everything is upside down, but that's what we're hoping for, a breakthrough, right? Because I'm all about marriage breakthrough, and this is like a world breakthrough. We want a new reality. Let's talk about Pesach for real.
Okay.
How can people actually align their life and their reality with this ideal life that doesn't feel as tangible, as attainable?
Are you asking me? Or are you gonna?
I'm asking you. I already have my own question. My answer.
They say, how do you get to Carnegie? Practice, practice, practice. You just keep preparing. Everybody gets ready for Passover. They know how to do it already. You mentioned the woman who buys the stroller, the baby buggy, and just even before she gets pregnant, she knows she wants to have a kid. Jewish people who believe in the Torah, they want to keep the mitzvot, they prepare to do it. The best example, that I bought Yeshayahu's one of his first books. I don't know, many years before he was conceived, more than a decade before he was conceived.
Yes.
Because I was working on that. You had the instruments of his circumcision. We owned also before he was even conceived, his talit, even before he was conceived.
Yeah.
Why? Because
guys, we waited for a boy for 10 years.
My son, amazing thing. Our son was born 10 years to the day from when I first met my wife, or at least I was consciously met my wife.
Yeah.
So that was quite a sign, but I was working toward that. So as Jews, let's say many of us move to the land of Israel, we want to keep the commandments. For me, that's why I live here. It's not necessarily because I wanted to join the IDF and fight for the homeland. More of a coward, I think, or as they say, I'll say it nicely, a man of peace. I came here because I wanted to keep the commandments. So thank God I have an esrog tree, and I'm able to keep the commandments of the land. I don't have a wheat farm, but try as much. And also I don't have any animals. I can't tithe my animals. But I hope to one day at least own a token amount of livestock so I can do the commandments. I keep the commandments, and that's what I hope other people do. So if you want to keep Pesach as it is, you have to get ready for Pesach. They say when a person dies, they'll ask him up in the heavenly court, they'll ask him a few questions, and one of them is, Sipitha Lishu'ah. Did you look forward to salvation? It means that did you do something to prepare? Many people just say, Mashiach is coming. Good. Okay, I'll be ready when it happens. Or worse, they say, don't worry, I don't have to worry about it if Mashiach comes, like we mentioned before.
Right. They say it's like, when Mashiach comes.
Hopefully I'll be able to get away with not doing anything until that point.
Right.
So this is a real Sipitha Lishua. We put that also on the advertisement campaign. We did this because we are really looking forward to it. We're trying to show this is how you prepare for such a thing. Yeah, that is how you're supposed to prepare. That's how you do this.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit of behind the scenes of how we prepare. So the night before, when everybody is checking for their chametz, I get ready to go and dunk in the mikvah. How would you say that in English?
Immersion.
Immerse in.
Well, I say dunk also, but formally it's immersion.
Immerse in the. How would you say mikvah?
Ritualarium.
There you go. See, that's why I have him, because he speaks English.
No, a lot of people don't recognize that word yet, so they use the word ritual bath.
Okay, great.
That's the point. You have to purify.
So I go and I purify myself because I have to do it the night before, because the women's ritual bath, how's that?
Yeah.
Is not open in the mornings.
Yeah. This is completely disconnected from the reason for it's not completely disconnected, but it's a different realm of halakha. Women normally go to the ritual bath, and that's because of points of intimacy and having to do with their menses and all that, and the purification from that. But in this case, it is entirely something that's equal for men and women. Men and women who wish to partake of sacrificial ritual and consumption of sacrificial meat have to ritually purify themselves.
Right.
And that is not connected, for example, with specifically ritual immersion at night. Except, as my wife said, the women's mikvaot, which is the ritual baths, happen only to be open at night because that's when the usual women are going.
Right.
So my wife has, the past few years, I've made sure that she goes to the ritual bath in preparation for Passover, the only time she can go before Passover, which is the night before, the night of checking for the chametz. And we don't do this instead of checking the chametz. After we search the house for 11 and do that, and the kids are asleep, that's when she goes. So that's a pretty interesting thing. You should, I would expect, on the contrary, that's when every woman should be going until they open up the women's ritual baths on Erev Pesach during the day. In the mornings, we're going to have the situation. I happen to go during the day. I try to do it first thing in the morning.
Right. So then in the morning, we burn our chametz, and then the rabbi goes. So towards
I do it after burning the chametz, because burning the chametz usually gives you all nice and smoky and smokes up your clothes. So I figure that's a good time to go, ritually immerse and all that. And I'm also surprised how it's, there are a lot of people in the afternoon at the mikvah. That's fine, but you want to be able to go in the morning so that you could attend the Paschal service in the temple, which is already starting in the afternoon. If you wait till the afternoon to immerse, you won't be able to attend. So get your immersion done as soon as possible for Passover, and don't forget, stay pure. There are many things you could do to ruin your purity. So don't do that. If you want little details, this is not the time and place. Basically, avoid what could ruin your purity.
Right. Don't play with rats. Don't go playing with rats.
Or as Moses said, "Al tigishu el isha amivin yavin."
Okay. So then that's the first thing. The first thing is you have to be pure in order to eat this piece of meat, and we want to be ready. And honestly, it's been so nice because it really brings the ideal into life. It creates a reality, even if the reality is just in our home. Now, the second thing we do is we put a huge suitcase in the middle of the living room and have everyone pack up to go to Jerusalem. So as we are getting ready for Pesach, everyone...
Well, this past year, we actually did it. We didn't even wait for that point. We actually were in Jerusalem already 2 days before Passover, ready for it.
Right,
but we're going to do that again. We'll have packed up and ready to go, and God willing, this year we'll get the phone call, hopefully around 1:00 in the afternoon.
Sounds good.
So come in.
I'm ready.
Head out to Jerusalem. We're going to pack the kids into the car. We're splitting up the automobies this year. So
that's exciting.
Be 100% ready.
We don't all fit into one car. Isn't that exciting?
Okay, just tell them. TMI.
Hey.
Okay, fine.
They all know I have 7 kids. That means you have 7 kids too.
The point is, you have to be able to get ready to get up and go to Jerusalem, especially if you're within the radius defined by Modi'in, from Modi'in to Jerusalem. Apparently, New Modi'in is basically roughly around the same area. All Jewish adults, by adults I mean girls over the age of 12 and up, boys 13 and up,
right?
Even indentured servants, everybody, men and women, equally are obligated in all of these commandments.
And I like that this is a commandment that is very equal. So you can't say, oh, there's, you don't have to or whatever. It's everybody is an equal here. So if you're a woman and you're thinking, should I get one? The answer is yes. If you're a man and thinking, should I get one? And the answer is yes. And if you're a teenager and thinking if you should get one, again, answer is yes.
You have to go to Jerusalem because the Korban Pesach can only be eaten in an area defined as the old city walls of Jerusalem, the old city, not the current one. The old city's basically been shifted northward.
Cool.
Basically, it's only the southern half of the old city, and areas to the south of the current old city are eligible for consumption of the Passover sacrifice. And then you have to sleep in that area. After you eat the Korban Pesach, you have to somehow sleep within that defined area. So bring your family. That's what we're planning to do. We're going to head on over. I guess we'll park the car outside the old city, but bring the family in there, have Korban Pesach. There's some places we'll talk about where you could potentially eat it and then bunk down for the night. And that would be the commandment. Not everybody has to attend temple, by the way. Only one representative of the group who are registered for a particular Korban Pesach, which is basically a goat in its first year or a lamb in its first year, a male one. And that's going to be interesting. Don't forget, bring your own lettuce. No, you need to eat it with lettuce or some
Okay,
other,
bring
or
your
one
own
of the
lettuce.
one of the other bitter herbs.
I was
You
going to
can
say
do
bring your own
chives,
matzah.
endives, etc. There's some other milkweed, whatever it is. There's 5 vegetables you could use for maror. Bring your karpas. That's any other vegetable. It's not maror. I prefer celery because that's what karpas means. Bring your wine or your kedem grape juice. The maximum house Haggadah will be useless, but kedem grape juice and Manischewitz matzah you can still have. Or strites, whichever one floats your boat. Just make sure it's shmur matzah.
Wait, it's not going to be useless because the people who can't come are still going to have to do Pesach.
No, it's going to be useless if you're doing Korban Pesach.
Oh, correct.
Yeah, your old Haggadah. And if chas v'shalom, that means heaven forbid or heaven forfend, you get stuck without Korban Pesach, so you'll have to take out your old Haggadah. And I'm actually quite worried because the day we succeed at doing this, all those people who didn't try, well, that's it's pretty bad. The biblical punishment for someone missing out on Korban Pesach when he had a chance to do so is not that appetizing.
No,
it's excision. That's why we have to take this very seriously. One who neglects Korban Pesach is equated with one who neglects circumcision, which is quite bad actually, in terms of biblical commandments. So yeah, that's what you need to know.
I just I think of Batya or Bitya, what's her name? The daughter of King Pharaoh, who put out her hand to catch Moses, even though it was too far away. And like the fact that she put,
Who
reached.
says it was too far away?
Well,
Rashi brings a medrash.
Okay.
Yeah.
The fact that she reached and at least tried made it that then, it was in reach. And I think it's our responsibility to it's our responsibility to try to reach out, to do our part, and to stop worrying about how and when and where and all that stuff. 1 second.
Should I?
I don't know, whatever.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? We're looking through the comments here.
Are the comments visible to everybody?
No, some. And Facebook, they're visible to Facebook, and on YouTube, they're visible on YouTube.
I think we need to be monitoring this or moderating this.
I haven't been looking.
Okay, well, I think someone's trying to. I think someone's trying to Jesus bomb us.
Well, that's great. So he wants us to. He says, "Block me." He's asking. We don't really care to block people. Any questions that actually have to do with this will be answered. I have some questions.
Okay, please.
Yeah. I forgot my questions. Do you have any questions?
Question what? Oh, you're supposed to ask me the questions. This is your show.
Yes. Where can people find you? That's usually a question that I ask.
Where are you talking about? Nowadays, when you ask a question like that, it's like, where on the internet?
Yes.
So put the links there to Avram Ben Yehuda or just my email address. Avram Ben Yehuda at wordpress.com. .wordpress.com. Avraham.grossman at gmail.com. Call me, there's Avram is AVROHOM .GROSSMAN at gmail.com. Look for my website, Google me. You can find some of the videos at Machon Shiloh's YouTube page or my own, YouTube channel or my own YouTube channel. And there's some older ones on Torah Box Torah Box's YouTube channel. Look for all those. Those are keywords: Torah Box, Machlon Shilo, and just Avram Ben Yehuda. Find those things, and you could do it. Or Google Haggadat Hapesach. It's the only one of its kind.
Yeah.
By the way,
I'm gonna tell you where to get this, okay? Because
no, let me take care of this.
So
Okay,
on my website, ConnectedForReal.com, you will find ConnectedForReal.com/Passover for Real. So Passover -for-real. And because my business is Connected for Real, I want you to have Passover for Real. And that's where you can buy the Haggadah. You can buy it for you and your wife or your husband, because I'm a marriage, coach. So I want you guys to be in this together. And you can buy them for your friends as presents.
Basically, every household needs one because you need to know what to do.
Yes, every person needs one, because when you're sitting down at the Seder, you want to be able to have your own,
and you want to know what you're doing also, because you haven't done this yet.
Right.
It has some surprise. Yes, it's familiar. It has the kiddush is the same, but that's it. The magid isn't the same. The order is not the same. There's some passages like, oh yeah, I've seen this before, but there's so much that's different or new. Different and new is specifically color coded.
Yeah.
So you see it, and you have to I guess, stay on your feet, stay on your toes, be quick, and know what to expect. That's different, and it has so many pleasant surprises that it's exciting almost to see this. You get excited. I think there's one type of excitement, which is the excitement of the old and familiar, the excitement of taking out whatever it is, your traditional matzah cover, the becher, the kiddush cup. You take out your kittel, whatever it is that gets excited, like the tradition, or you could even just the traditional recipe. The same matzo ball soup.
Right.
But there's also the excitement of the new, the excitement of something that's not been done. So let's equate that. You have the excitement of the food, the tastes of Passover. You'll have those also. You could bring your grandmother's matzo ball soup or whatever else you like, but you also get to taste Korban Pesach. It is basically forbidden nowadays, or it's been forbidden, to eat roasted lamb the night of Passover. Now you could actually taste roasted lamb with that matzo ball soup. That's a commandment. That's something that's going to be new. You have the thrill of telling the same story to the children, getting excited about that which we did last year, but now you can get them even more excited. This year we're actually in Jerusalem. This year we're actually doing it. It's not just a story of what was long ago. It's actually real. Some people, I don't know why, when they, like mentioned this before, when they want to get back to Passover, they want to go back to Egypt. Go back to Egypt and enjoy what it was like in Egypt. And some of us want to go back to the redemption, what it was like to leave Egypt. Building of the temple is dated to 480 years after the Exodus, right? Because that was the culmination. This is the culmination of the Exodus, being able to celebrate in Jerusalem with a Korban Pesach as God intended. I don't know anybody with any practical experience, but the more people get excited about this, the more people are demanding such a thing, the more people are ready, the more likely it is that we will achieve our goals soon. And just think about that. It's not a fantasy. It's Zionism, if you can, like real, true, looking forward to the future. Remember, 200 years ago, we weren't here. There's no Jewish city in the land of Israel. Now there are plenty of Jewish cities. Thank God, many large Jewish families, yeshivas, synagogues, at least some good synagogues, and so you can.
I love your excitement. That's what fueled this thing, okay? Because there's real desire.
It surprises me how many people are not on board with this. I mean, I'm very excited with all the people who are, but there's so many people just look like, are you telling me you could do this? I'm telling you you could do this. This is a real thing. This is real. This is what God intended. This is going to happen. I tell you, some people, I guess it's a Lamad Devar Domeh. You said like people don't have children. I don't know many people who are still without children. I have friends. Yeah, I have friends who are still without child. To tell them you're going to have a child next year, like when Avram Avinu and Sarah were told on Passover. By the way, it was on Passover that the angels came and told Abraham, "You're going to have a kid next year. Your wife she's been childless. She's 90 years old. You're 100. You couple. You're going to have a kid next year." And they both laughed in different ways. That was on Passover. So too, I'm telling you, come Passover, you are going to be sitting, you are going to have left the temple. Temple's closed at night. You'll be eating the Korban Pesach in Jerusalem like you always thought you were going to do. That's going to be happening. You're going to laugh. You think it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's what God intended. That's why Isaac was born on Passover. His birth was foretold on Passover, and his birth took place on Passover. Why? Because he symbolizes it's going to happen. You think it's a joke. You think it's a wonderful.
Here, you
It's
got
just
a
our
nice
mouth and
comment. You got to
Who
read
is
it.
this? It's Love for Rabba. Okay, yeah. I hope you have your copy of the Haggadah, by the way.
Yeah, make sure to get one.
order it.
ConnectedForReal.com/
And if that's another question,
Passover for real.
my time is up, by the way.
No, we still have 10 minutes for my time because you got cut off before.
So
So here's the thing. I want to talk to you guys about
wait, does that mean I have to stay? Or you?
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Because I think it's really what's really interesting, and what I wanted to talk about is because I'm a marriage coach and all of you guys are always learning from me when I bring other people in. One of the things that makes it really interesting is to actually see the behind the scenes of my own marriage. And what the rabbi just talked about was like, oh, it's surprising how many people aren't ready. It surprises me how many people don't sound interested or think I'm, not really there, whatever, I like to focus on what is and who is interested and all the excitement around it. So I am more of like but look at the bright side. And there's, that sometimes gets in the way because I get a little annoying about it. Would you say?
Okay, it's fine. I'd say nothing.
So I think that's another thing that's fun about being so different is I'm a little bit more like into the focusing on the positive.
Okay.
And you're just dealing with more people and selling it door to door, so you're more
I guess I'm
involved.
a little more pragmatic with this. Thank God I've been privileged to go on a few speaking engagements this year. Now that the corona's over, you can imagine when the Haggadah was first published, and then I went out to start selling it. They closed the bookstores. They told me I couldn't leave my house. We were basically locked down. Insanity.
Yes, the first year we printed.
I did not go anywhere to. I couldn't publicize the Haggadah. I couldn't promote it or anything, or get it to anybody.
Right.
And I was telling people we're going to go to Jerusalem from Pesach, and people were saying they were in fear of death. They thought they're going to die, and they couldn't leave their houses. And we basically didn't go out for 3 weeks before Passover and 3 weeks after Passover.
Right.
That
was the first lockdown.
It was ridiculous. And then the next year, and very limited engagements. I remember one place I was speaking to the students at the yeshiva, and I had to be behind a plexiglass. I was basically in the penalty box. But now, thank God, this year we're getting to quite a few places. I'm going to be in tomorrow night. I'm going to Jerusalem in one place. Sunday we have 2 engagements. The day after that, a few more engagements. Thursday night we're going to be in Harnof and Harish speaking to adults.
Yeah.
So check out the Harish 8 o'clock Sunday night Israel time. It's going to be daylight savings time. And again in Harnof before Passover, and some more. There's another one. We're going down to Evan Shmuel to speak a few places in Jerusalem, mostly Anglo crowds, but I think we have also some.
No, but in Evan Shmuel's in Hebrew.
It's going to be in Hebrew. Well, they didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be in Hebrew. I guess. Don't worry, we'll just have to press the Hebrew button before we start. The keyboard. So thank God we're getting out and getting to hear people. So
yeah.
Did that have anything to do with the question? Is that what you wanted me to say?
I don't want you to say anything. I think they want to hear, the authentic side of things.
You told me a few minutes ago you said you had 10 minutes, so that's your time. So.
Oh, okay. The rabbi's tired. I think we gotta go. But here's the deal.
Why do you keep calling me the rabbi?
What do you want me to call you?
Usually you call me Avi or something, or you can say my husband or something.
My husband. Okay. The rabbi. I'm very proud of you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, okay, the Rebbetzin.
The rabbi. Okay, so this comes in Hebrew and in English. Mm-hmm. The Hebrew edition was printed first. This is the translated, of course. It's made of 2 parts.
It's not almost interlinear. It's like in one case we took a page out of the Art Scroll, not literally. There's Hebrew on one side, English on the other.
I don't think Art Scroll is the first ones to do that.
I'm not saying Art Scroll is the most common one that does this. So
okay,
also.
The first part is essays, and the essays are really here to give you the answers, the pointers,
to that which you have not yet done.
Yes, the explanations. This will answer a lot of your questions, okay? And those are really, really interesting, high-level stuff. You're going to like it. Devorah says, I love you guys. I love you too. The second part of the Haggadah is the actual text you're going to be using. As I said, some of it is purple to show you and highlight to you what is different and what is new. And that's the exciting stuff. When you say that stuff, I am envisioning already the tears coming down. It's exciting. It's beautiful. And
I've actually cried over this, thinking about the last two Passovers when we didn't get to use this. I went to the temple last year on Erev Pesach. I tried to get in. I presented myself. We had all prepared in the politics and police, and it was just like, nope.
Yeah.
So it was a real disappointment. So I'm hoping this year, praying for it. Clutch your hands.
No clutching.
Kiss your children. We have to really hope for this. We try so hard.
Yeah. But I think, that going out of your comfort zone and trying something that you believe is necessary, but nobody has ever seen happen before, that's what it's all about, right? The trust and the leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith and trust are two different things, but I think they work together.
No, I described it already. Faith is, knowledge, believe in God. Trust means the next step. Are you really to, fall backwards and you think he's going to catch you? Most people haven't taken that. So they haven't shown that leap of faith.
So leap of faith equals trust.
They haven't taken that. They haven't demonstrated their trust yet. A lot of people have a hard time. However, it's very difficult.
Legit. If you're scared, you're scared, and that's okay. Everybody has emotions. But I think the really cool thing about it is that you can actually do something. So go and do it. You can get in touch with us on WhatsApp, and we will send you a link of how to order it, or you can buy it from the website, ConnectedForReal.com/Passover-for-real. Passover for real. What is the reason for a woman to go to the Mikvah Erev Pesach?
Oh, that's an actual halakha question. Okay.
Yes.
Anybody who wishes to partake of sacrificial food, for example, or even trumot, the priestly portions, or to enter the temple complex, has to ritually purify himself. There are certain forms of ritual purification which we are incapable of doing, and which remove certain types of contamination. Bodily contamination, which is caused by a number of things, is radically different from the contamination a person would incur, or would I guess he would acquire if he came into contact with the dead. And there's only one way to remove that impurity, but that impurity is
she's asking about paraduma, the red
so
cow.
I'm answering that. Paraduma removes death impurity, but the Torah says, Chazal derived this from the Torah, as our sages did, that death impurity doesn't count. The whole rules of death impurity and purification therefrom are basically ignored when everybody is impure like that. That's a long process a long process of purification, and they already said it happened a few times in history when they realized that the majority, we assume that the majority is like this today, majority have that type of impurity. We just ignore it entirely. You could build the temple tomorrow and put the altar there and start the sacrificial service. The priests will only have to go to Mikvah to remove the bodily impurities,
right,
and they will not have to wait 7 days to purify themselves from the deathly impurity that they may have incurred sometime earlier in their life. They just ignore that. The temple service goes on. The only difference is that certain sacrifices are not consumed. If they bring a sin offering, a person brings a sin offering, the priest will not eat the meat of the sin offering. They'll burn that beyond the temple. The only sacrifice that is actually eaten when brought in a state of impurity, by state of impurity, meaning that we haven't purified anybody from the deathly impurity because we don't have the ashes of the red cow, is the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach is eaten even in this state. However, we still have to remove these other forms of impurity.
So here's the answer to the question. The question came back again. So why do we need to be pure using the mikvah if tumat hutra?
So that's talking about tumat mate, the deathly impurity. But bodily impurity, that is the impurity you get from, for example, a woman just having her period or giving birth, or a man who's experienced a seminal emission for whatever reason whatsoever, whether permissible, impermissible, voluntary or involuntary, or a guy who, let's say, just touched a dead rodent or reptile. Those are all different types of impurity. And all of those are removed through immersion in the ritual bath. So in order to be able to partake of Korban Pesach, you have to at least do that. That's the same standard we have with, by the way, entering the Temple Mount today. There are areas where people who have death impurity cannot go, but those who have at least been to the ritual bath can go to certain places. Is there a follow-up question?
Yeah, bodily impurity is not hutra b'tzibur.
No. Bodily purity is not permitted. That is something that can always be removed through mikvah. So that is something that there is no dispensation. Every priest who serves in the temple, by the way, has to go to the ritual bath immediately before donning his priestly vestments, and then he puts those on, and then he has to once again wash his hands and feet within the courtyard of the temple. That's his ritual. And an ordinary Jew, man or woman, who wants to enter at least the Temple Mount has to go to a ritual bath. And in this case, there are places where he's not allowed to go to unless he has to offer sacrifice. And what we're going to do is nowadays, because let's say today was Wednesday. Okay. So the Jews who went up to visit the temple, and I equate the temple with the Temple Mount because Maimonides and the sages did. The Jew who visited the temple today went to the ritual bath, and then he was able to pray on the Temple Mount. He was not allowed to enter the area that was the inner courtyard of the temple because he did not bring sacrifice. Okay. But if he had the chance to do so, he would have been allowed even beyond that. So that's what we intend to do. If we do not get this whole death and purity thing straightened out before Passover, it takes at least a week to get it straightened out. Because the ritual of purification through the ashes of the red cow and the droplets, etc., that takes a week. If we don't get that sorted out by then, we'll still go ahead with the temple service. Like I said, go to the mikvah beforehand. All men and women, and basically anybody of bar mitzvah age has to go. We have this thing here. Could a Korban Pesach practically be brought today, and then you would be able to eat it because you went to the mikvah? Yes, that's exactly what we're trying to say. This is what the sages say. This is what is in the codes. All you need is ritually pure priests and Israelites who have been to mikvah and did it properly, by the way, prepared for the immersion. If they did not prepare properly, then their immersion did not count. But that's all it takes. And the priests, of course, have to be wearing priestly vestments, which is something they're already producing. We know how to do these things. It's very well documented. We have the materials. All the technicals are easily straightened out. Also, the construction of an altar is something we know how to do. We know where to put the altar. We know where the temple is supposed to be. The minimum sheba minimum, as they would say. We need the place of the altar. We need priests. We need Israelites. We need a few sacred vessels. They have to catch the blood of the sacrifice in a sacred vessel in order to apply it to the place of the altar or the altar itself, God willing.
And the animal?
You need the animals we have. And don't hurt the book.
Sorry.
So that's all we need to do. And the sacrifice will go through. And then you got to roast the Korban Pesach and make sure you stay pure in order to eat the Korban Pesach. A person who only purified the day before, anytime after sunset on the night of the 14th of Passover, the night of B'dikat Chametz, his purity to be able to eat the Korban Pesach will only kick in the next night at when the stars come out. That is the night of Pesach when the stars come out, nightfall. Right. So he's ritually pure enough to attend the sacrifice. He's ritually pure enough to slaughter the sacrifice and roast it and prepare it for consumption. But to actually eat it at the Seder, he has to wait for night to fall because then his full purity will kick in. And that's a technical thing also. Look for the shurim about that. I find this fascinating.
So the follow-up is, or is it not actually practical today? It is practical today if
not only that,
we were allowed to do it.
Not only is it practical, tomorrow morning, there are people who are ready to offer sacrifice in the place of the temple. Tomorrow morning, all they have to do is permission. That is the only thing that's missing. They have the altar ready. They have the priests ready. They have the animals ready. Everything is ready to go. All we need is enough people to make it happen. So that's kind of surprising. That's the situation we've been in now for 55 years, by the way. The temple service is ready to go for the last 55 years. There are people ready, willing, and able to do it. And all the technicals are straightened out. That's why this is such a surprise. Okay.
You'd have to work pretty fast.
No, you don't have to work pretty fast. This is all.
Well, you only have to work really fast if you were hiding something. But if you'd have permission, which is the only thing missing, then it would be done.
And I thank you all. That's it. Have a good night, everybody. We're signing off now.
Thank you so much for coming and joining me on this really fascinating podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed my special guest, probably the only male guest I will ever have, unless my father decides to be a guest too.
Why not?
Maybe. But I don't usually have men who are not my family members in.
Okay, good. No,
in my,
TMI. Just say good night.
Say good night. Thank you so much. Make sure to come and follow me and join me on all of my awesome things that I do with all of marriage and life. I will see you guys next time. All the best. Anybody who asks questions or has more questions, make sure to send them our way. You can find us, you can find me at ConnectedForReal on Instagram and on Facebook. Good night.